Most people don't struggle because they lack wisdom. They struggle because the wisdom they already know never seems to show up when it matters most. In quiet moments, things make sense. We understand what's right. We recognize what we should do. But then the day begins. Pressure arrives, emotions rise, distractions multiply, and suddenly clarity disappears. Ancient writers noticed this long before modern life became loud. They understood that knowing something and living it are two very different things. They warned that wisdom can sit comfortably in the mind while never reaching the place where decisions are made. So the real question isn't whether wisdom still exists. The question is why it slips away so easily, and what separates words we admire from principles that actually guide us. This reflection is an invitation to slow down, to look honestly at that gap, and to consider what it really takes for wisdom to move from thought into life. We hear about wisdom constantly. We read it, listen to it, quote it, nod along to it. We say we understand it. And yet, when the real day begins, when pressure arrives, when emotion rises, when distraction pulls us, that same wisdom often slips through our fingers like water. The problem is not that wisdom is rare. The problem is that wisdom is remembered intellectually but forgotten practically. Ancient writers knew this well. Be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves, writes James in the Bible. Wisdom that remains only in the mind is not wisdom at all. It is information wearing noble clothing. The first misunderstanding modern people have about wisdom is thinking it is something you know rather than something you live. Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living, but examination alone is not enough. Examination must lead to discipline." Aristotle went further and said, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." This is the bridge most people never cross. They collect insights, but they do not construct habits. They admire principles, but they do not order their days around them. Wisdom does not change your life because you agree with it. It changes your life when it governs your behavior when no one is watching. In the real world, wisdom fails to apply itself because the mind is crowded. Modern life overwhelms attention. Notifications, noise, urgency, comparison, all of it fractures focus. Ancient wisdom assumed silence. It is slow formation of character. "I have stored up your word in my heart that I might not sin against you," says the psalmist. Notice the language, stored up. Wisdom was treated like a treasure placed somewhere accessible, not like a headline glanced at and forgotten. If wisdom is not stored, it cannot be retrieved when needed most. This is why remembering rules is not primarily a memory problem, it is an environment problem. You do not forget wisdom because it is weak, but because the surrounding noise is stronger. Marcus Aurelius, writing as a Roman emperor surrounded by chaos, reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." He wrote his meditations not for an audience, but to re-anchor himself each morning. Wisdom was not assumed to be permanent. It had to be renewed. Repetition was not redundancy, it was survival. To apply wisdom in everyday life, it must first become simple. Complexity impresses the ego, but simplicity governs behavior. The Bible again speaks plainly that your yes be yes and your no be no. Ancient philosophy echoes this. Epictetus taught that freedom comes not from controlling everything, but from distinguishing what is in your control and what is not. These are not complicated systems. They are clear lines. The difficulty lies not in understanding them, but in choosing them consistently when emotion pushes the opposite direction. Focus, then, is not about intensity. It is about direction. Where there is no vision, the people perish, Proverbs says. Vision is not a grand dream, it is a steady orientation. Wisdom becomes applicable when it answers a single question again and again. What kind of person am I choosing to be right now? When that question is alive, decisions align naturally. Without it, even the wisest words float without weight. Motivation too is misunderstood. People wait to feel motivated before acting wisely. Ancient teachers reversed this order. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Discipline yourself and others won't have to, writes Confucius. The Bible agrees in spirit. Whoever is faithful in little is faithful also in much. Small obedience builds inner trust. When you keep your own word to yourself, waking when you said you would, pausing when anger rises, choosing restraint when indulgence is easy, motivation grows quietly because as self-respect grows. What is needed then is not more wisdom, but structure. Wisdom must be given a place to land. Morning reflection, written reminders, short rules you can carry into the day. The ancients carved wisdom into stone, not because it was poetic, but because it needed to endure. Today wisdom dissolves because it is not anchored. Write them on the tablet of your heart, Proverbs urges. The heart in ancient language meant the center of decision-making, not emotion alone. Wisdom must sit where choices are made. Peace follows naturally when wisdom becomes embodied. Not the absence of problems, but the presence of order. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you, says Christ, not peace as comfort, but peace as alignment. Ancient Stoics called this ataraxia, a calm that comes from living according to reason and nature. The Bible calls it shalom, wholeness, completeness, right ordering. Different words, same truth. Inner peace is not found by escaping life, but by meeting life with a trained mind. Direction emerges the same way. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. A lamp does not show the entire road. It shows the next step. Wisdom does not remove uncertainty, it removes paralysis. When wisdom is practiced daily, confidence grows quietly, not as arrogance, but as grounded steadiness. You begin to trust your judgment because it has been tested. In the end, ancient wisdom was never meant to impress. It was meant to form. Modern life tempts us to consume ideas endlessly, but transformation requires fewer ideas lived more deeply. The question is not whether wisdom still applies today. It is whether we are willing to slow down enough to let it shape us. As Ecclesiastes reminds us, the end of the matter. All has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Not hear, not admire. Keep. Wisdom becomes real when it becomes routine. When it enters the body through habit, the mind through repetition, and the soul through intention. Then clarity follows, strength stabilizes, peace settles, and direction appears. Not suddenly, but steadily. Ancient wisdom still works. It always has. The only question is whether we are willing to live it one ordinary day at a time. If you enjoyed this reflection and these ideas resonate with you, you're very welcome to subscribe for more audiobooks and contemplative content like this. If you have thoughts, questions, or would like to explore other books or themes in this space, feel free to share them in the comments. I do read them. And if this video helped you in any way, a simple like is always appreciated. Thank you for listening.